Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and happy holidays. It's your girl Caroline back again with another start to finish detailed as ever hair tutorial, because for us to get to this beautiful look, we got to start right here, because in reality this is exactly how all the wigs come out of the box, and you need to do some customization, which can be a little bit overwhelming, but don't worry, that's what I'm here for. I'm going to show you guys everything I did to go from this to this lovely side swoop that we got going on. So with that said, let's get right into today's tutorial. Starting right out of the box, this wig is from Hermosa Hair Company. They sent me their pre-dyed 13 by 4 chocolate highlighted wig. They sent me 24 inches, 220% density, and all of the links and specs for this wig, if you're interested, will be down below. But let's get right into what we have to do to customize this wig to make it look like scalp. So once I put the wig upon my mannequin head to get an inspection of the hairline right out of the box, the first thing that was yelling at me was the knots. The knots needed to be taken care of ASAP. If you're a beginner, you're wondering what are knots exactly, you see those little like black dots at the base, the root of the wig. Those are actual knots that are tied from the hair being tied strand by strand into your wig. And to make the wig look a lot more natural and scalp-like, we're going to be using some bleach to help just lift the color from this dark black color to bleach it to be more of a blonde color, so it can like look like it's coming more out of your scalp versus looking like knots that have been tied onto a wig. And another thing, upon inspection, the hairline is very dense. One thing I've learned about Hermosa Hair Company, they give you dense, like they're high density wigs. It's mainly high density in the frontal. Like this frontal, she was thick. So we're gonna have to be bleaching our knots and also giving a good plucking to make it look as natural as possible. So let's start with step 1, which is bleaching the knots. To bleach my knots, I like using this Blonde Brilliance Express bleaching powder. This is more of a bougier bleaching powder, I would say, but I just started investing in my products because I've been doing wigs for so long, so I feel like invest in yourself type of thing. But if you're a beginner, you can definitely get away with using your standard BW powder that you get at the beauty supply store. It's much cheaper, works just as fine, but I do like using the Blonde Brilliance one because I feel like it's more gentler, has conditioning properties, and I just like the way the solution is. It kind of helps me not over bleach because it doesn't get runny easier. And to mix this bleach, I'm going to be using a 20 volume developer. That's because this brand specifically tells you to use nothing more than 25 volume. But if you're a beginner and you're using something different, do watch out my other videos, my older start to finish videos, where I go in depth on how to use regular bleaching powders. I was bleaching 2 wigs at the same time, so I'm using a lot more product than I would use normally. But here I'm just going in and pouring in the bleach. The key when it comes to your bleaching powder versus developer ratio, you want to pour that developer in slowly because the consistency of your solution is really what's going to help you not make a mistake. So I like to make sure it's not too runny, because if it gets too runny, it's going to start dripping into the actual hairline. You want the bleach to just sit on top of the knots and not start dripping into the hair itself. So I was just like, pour a little bit, do a little mixy mix, and I just keep adding until it gets to like a nice spreadable, like frosting type of consistency where it's nice and spreadable, but also it's not drippy. Like when you pick up your mixing brush, you shouldn't have anything dripping down. That's how you know you've made it way too runny. I feel like it's very easy for it to get runny fast and hard for you to get it thicker even when you add more product. So I always just like, take my time, little drop here, spin, put a little bit more, spin, and just keep going until it's literally like nice and spreadable. It's not cakey and chalky, and at the same time it's not dripping, which is why I like this Blonde Brilliance bleaching powder the best, because I feel like it doesn't get runny as easier as the other products I've used in the past. And my last tip, whatever you use to mix and apply your bleach, make sure it's not metal. Metal is going to oxidize and ruin the whole entire chemical reaction we got going here. So plastic, glass, anything, just nothing that is metal. No metal spoons, metal knives. That's going to affect your end results drastically. Now that my bleach is nice and smooth and creamy and ready to be applied, I'm going to go ahead and just spray some hairspray onto the front of the hairline and push all of the hairs in the front, because I had these little baby hairs that were in the front. So I'm going to just make sure I push everything back because I don't want to make any mistakes and get bleach onto the actual hair. I can use water hairspray, doesn't matter, just something to slick back the hair. To apply my bleach, I like to use a wooden popsicle stick. This is a popsicle stick that comes with my wax, but you can get this from like a craft store. I like to use the really big ones. I just prefer to use popsicle sticks because I feel like it kind of helps me feel like I'm applying butter to toast. in this way, but use whatever you want to use. I just feel like I can control the pressure, because the amount of pressure you use also is another key thing to keep in mind when you're trying to get a perfect bleach of the knots. I usually start from the back and work my way up when it comes to these knots, because I feel like the knots in the back are much bigger than the knots in the front, so they need a longer processing time. Kind of like the whole concept when you're relaxing your hair, you always start from the back because the back of your hair needs more time to process. Same thing. So the trick to really getting a useful bleach, when I say useful, because I used to always bleach my knots and I would never really like make a big difference, is because I realized I wasn't applying enough pressure. It's really a balancing act between getting enough pressure to push that bleach to cover the knots, but at the same time not too much pressure where you're now pushing it where it's bleaching the hair, you know. So like it's really just like a balancing act, which is why it's important for your solution to not be runny, so you can have enough room to push it and scrape it in for it to cover up those knots. Like when I'm saying covering, I mean, I'll show you guys towards the end. I always make sure I flip my wig over to see if I can literally see the bleach sitting over the knots. Like you should not see those knots. Like the bleach should cover it. I don't know if that makes sense, but hopefully when I show you, it's gonna make sense. So this is how the wig looked like when I first applied the bleach, and I don't know if you can tell, but you see how you can still see those dots, those little knots peeking through even though I put bleach on it. Incorrect. This is how you waste your time bleaching your knots. So what I had to do is go back, and now I'm gonna put more pressure with my scraper and start really scraping that bleach through, because I see that I didn't put enough pressure, because you want it to literally, you don't want to see any of those knots. Like it should all just be sitting at the root of the hair, the bleach, but at the same time no little dots is poking through, so that way it's properly going to, you know, turn it the color that we need it to be. Because if it's just sitting at the bottom, you're not bleaching the knots, you just bleaching the lace. So here's me just going back in this time, because I know I need to apply a lot more pressure, because the knots on this wig were bigger than I'm used to. Not that big, but they were bigger than normal. So I'm going in with the actual mixing brush itself, because the mixing brush, I don't use it to apply bleach because it's hard to control the pressure, because sometimes it applies too much bleach too fast. But since I needed more bleach, I'm using this. But like I said, it's a balancing act between putting enough pressure and not too much. So do be careful and mindful that you don't push it too far where you start noticing, like, you know, the bleach is getting into the hair. But if that happens, just take a moment, pause, get like a spray bottle with water, spray that section that has a bleach on it, and try your best to just wipe it off. But if you do end up over bleaching your knots, that's fine. You can fix that during post-production. I do have a video showing where I fix mistakes that I've made while customizing my wigs. It's not the end of the world, but you just want to try your best to, you know, not make these mistakes. Okay, and here's how the hairline looks now that I've applied more pressure. So you can see the knots is covered. I did miss a few knots here and there, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you just want to try to cover up as much knots as you can for it to actually be worth your time bleaching your knots. Now that I have that done, I'm going in with some foil paper, and I'm just going to apply that under the lace, and sometimes I'll put foil over. The purpose of foil is just to like act as a catalyst, because basically it's going to help, you know, contain the heat, and it's going to make the reaction just go a lot faster. As far as timing goes, I never give y'all the exact time on how long to leave your bleach, because every hair is different. Some hair, it'll bleach super fast, like give it 15 minutes and it's done. Some I can leave it on for an hour, or I might have to do 2 rounds. So I always say just leave yourself like a 10-minute to 15-minute timer, and keep checking on your knots every 10 to 15 minutes. Once you start seeing the hair go from a black color to more of a blonde shade, like you're literally bleaching your hair, that is when you know it is time to. The type of developer you're using, the type of hair, type of bleach, a lot of things can affect how long you need to let the bleach sit on there. But I say nothing over an hour. Once it's been an hour and the color is not lifting, there might be a problem with the hair. It's probably not even human hair and it can't be bleached, or you need to do 2 rounds. But an hour, be careful, because you might start having shedding, because bleaching is a chemical process. It is processing to the hair, and it does kind of cause your hair to shed over time. So I try my best to not do too much not bleaching. I'll just try to use makeup or some other methods if I don't get a perfect bleach. Here's how the knots were looking. This is about, I believe, almost an hour. These knots did take a minute to bleach, not gonna lie, but you can see it's now like very blonde at the roots. It's no longer dark, it is a blonde color. I usually go for like a almost yellowish tone. I don't like when the knots are still orange, because if your knots are still giving like a penny copper color, it's probably not ready. Personally, I wanted it more blonder than this, but since it's been an hour, I was like, I don't want to damage my knots. When it comes to washing the bleach out, make sure you are thoroughly washing it out, like not just out of the lace, but also like out of the hair itself. So I always like to use a neutralizing shampoo. So a neutralizing shampoo, basically it turns clearly, the foam is going to turn white once you've washed out every, like, you know, every chemical, whatever. This is something, if you ever like got your hair relaxed, they have neutralizing shampoos and they turn pink when they're still like relaxing your hair. Same concept. So I just like to make sure I'm washing throughout the hair, because I realized sometimes my hair will start to shed, and that's because I wasn't washing the bleach all the way out, and it'll just sit in there over time, causing the hair to become more weakened and damaged. So do make sure you are washing that wig out thoroughly. Now, once I have finished washing out the hair, the foam has turned white, knowing that there's no more bleach in it. I'm going to be toning the knots on the wig. Most of the time, whenever you are going from a black, dark color to a more blonde color, there's going to be some like orange, brassy tones. So after bleaching your knots, you might notice the lace is looking very orangey. The knots are looking very much orange, giving Donald Trump. All is well, don't panic. You just want to use either some purple or blue shampoo. Purple shampoo is great for the yellow tones you might get, and then orange shampoo is great for the other way. And then blue shampoo is great for canceling out the orange tones that you might get. Most of the times I use both, but since this wig, it didn't lift all the way to the color I wanted. Like I was telling you, I like to go for more of a orange yellowish color. It was more orange than yellow, so I'm only using the blue shampoo in this instance. And I like to, like, as you just saw, just slather a good amount on it. It's a very pigmented shampoo, and I want to make sure I'm getting the whole bottom covered up with that blue color so it can really, you know, tone those knots. And I let this sit for probably 5 to 10 minutes, but for sure I don't let it sit for too long, because sometimes, especially the blue shampoo, can, you know, taint your lace a little bit. But I always get questions asking, do we have to tint our lace? Do I have to use purple shampoo? Is it necessary? Can I skip it? Honestly, yes, you can skip this part if you don't have it on hand, and you can just use concealer in the post install to kind of like, you know, tweak the orangeness. You don't have to do this. It's just something, come ready here washing the wig, might as well do it, you know. Once I've, you know, let that sit for a minute and I'm just here washing it all out, making sure I'm washing the lace out so I don't have any blue tinted lace, and I'm washing out the hair. And lastly, I'm going in with some conditioner, especially after I just used 2 shampoos. If you didn't know, shampoos are very stripping and drying on your hair. So it's really important to make sure you are using a good, deep, moisturizing conditioner after. I just let this sit on my hair for, depending how long I have, sometimes 15, 30 the next night, you know. The longer the better. I like this conditioner. I'll make sure, I'll try my best to link down everything in the description box if you're wondering what I'm using and where to get it. Now let's get into the plucking. The wig is almost air dry, because I don't like plucking my wigs when they are wet. I like to pluck them when like they're like not fully dry but have a little bit of wetness to them. Plucking wet or dry, you can pluck wet or dry. Only thing is, if you pluck wet, the knots will come out faster, which can be good but also can be bad because you can over pluck. And now, even though I might not end up doing the hair in the actual middle part, I always like to just part it down in the middle when I'm plucking, because it's really crucial to not mess up and pluck the middle part. So I'm just going ahead real quick and putting it on my actual head, because sometimes the middle on the mannequin head is not the middle on my head. So I like to just put the wig on my head real quick and just part me a nice little middle part. Doesn't have to be perfect, just, you know, get the job done. I'm placing this white tissue paper over the wig head to give me something white to pluck under, so I can really see the hairline a lot better, because I'm plucking over something white. And it's just a tissue paper that came with the wig in the packaging. Put the wig back on the head, and to secure my wig down, I just use these little T-pins. You can get them from, honestly, the sewing section in any store. Like Walmart has them for like sewing stuff. Get it from your beauty supply store, or you can just search T-pins on Amazon and get you a big old pack for like $8–10. So just make sure you really get your wig nice and taut and secured all around, no folds, no lumps, because the tension of having the wig nice and like tight on the mannequin head is going to help the knots come out a lot easier. And now with my hot comb, we're just gonna press the hairline all back and also like press that middle part out. But your hot comb has to be real nice and hot for this. And you make sure you're really pressing it into the roots. My hot comb is on 500 degrees Fahrenheit. And y'all keep asking where do I get my really hot combs from? I get it from Amazon. This one in particular is not in stock anymore, unfortunately. But just type in 500 degrees Fahrenheit hot comb, and when you're buying it, make sure you look through the description of the product that it says it gets up to 500 degrees. Because some of them, they be lying. But yeah, I'm just trying to really push all those knots flat. You need everything to be flat and pushed back so you can see it. To pluck, I'm using my Revlon slant tip tweezer. I've been using these tweezers for like almost 2 years now. The type of tweezer you use does make a difference in my opinion, so try different tweezers. Some tweezers can be way too pointy, and that's probably why you have a hole in your wig. So these days I try to not pluck the front a lot. Like I save the front plucking for like post install, you know. I feel like I've been plucking way too much, and it just kind of looks better, especially the way it comes pre-plucked a little bit. I don't know if you can see, like, so if you see how like it's like a little bit thinned out up here, and then as you go back, it starts to get thicker. Like there's more hair, you know. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create that like thinned out illusion because it's what matches your natural hairline. Front, I always just I'll just part it out. I just go in and I just part that little already plucked for you section. Even if your wig doesn't come thinned out in the front and it comes pretty thick, I still always just start plucking behind the hairline first. It just kind of saves you from having crazy bald spots later. There's lots of little flyaways in this, so I gotta keep hitting it with the hot comb every time. Because you need visual clearance when you're doing this. And then I take my tweezer, pointed tip, the pointiest part pointing towards the front. And then I just, you know, you gotta pluck it from the roots, like you're literally plucking out a chin hair. And I pluck in a back dragging motion. So I go pluck, like I pluck right here. I'm gonna skip that line. I'm gonna pluck this line, skip, pluck, skip right here, pluck right there. And I'm going in a back dragging motion, but still trying to make sure I'm pulling the hair out from the roots. Like you wanna pull the knots out from the base. And the sections you're skipping shouldn't be like massive. Like it shouldn't be wide. Like I try to make them like more like thin, like hairline gaps. You don't want fat gaps in it. That's what makes it look kind of funny and awkward. All the way down here, like this row, I'm not gonna take my tweezer from plucking right here. I'm gonna pluck a little bit higher up here in between. If you can't do that, then you can always just like, as a beginner, I used to just part it and just pluck it through row by row. So like I'll part that part I just did out. Push all that back. And then we do the same thing. Pluck, skip, pluck, skip, and just work our way down. Excuse me. I feel like I might end up plucking some holes in this wig because the knots stay a little bit big. That's something I've noticed about Hermosa Hair. Like the frontals and the knots be big and thick. Like I mean like the hairline be thick and the knots be big. And sometimes you'll pluck the hair but the knots will be left, so I have to like go back and try to pluck that knot left, because you don't want to leave a knot behind, because a knot will make it look like you plucked anything. Like you got to pull the hair out from the root for it to look like you actually plucked the hair. That's what gives that clean plucked look. Now I'm just kind of plucking more further back into the hairline. You know, just trying to create a gradual thinning of everything. You don't have to go all the way to the back. I usually go like an inch, like a thumb, like to up here. I don't go too far back. And then I push everything back to the front. Alright, now for the front, right? I really try to do like minimal plucking up here. So I just, you know, right now I'm not even plucking the front. I'm really just plucking back here. Like I don't really put my tweezers up down here. Okay, so it's currently 1:13 a.m. in the morning. And logically, I'm like, Caroline, you know, you pluck the wig, go to bed, do this tomorrow. But like, for some reason, see, that's not the problem. Because I kind of have energy. I don't feel like going to sleep. So I'm like, maybe, I think I'm going to stay up. Mind you, I've been up since like 8 a.m. Like, I should be exhausted. But I don't know, just something about installing a wig at odd hours at night just really does me. But right where we left off, here's the wig. Anyways, I decided I want to do a side swoop because I haven't done a side swoop in a while. And since with the hair being so thick, I feel like a side swoop is a great hairstyle. You don't want to have to like do too much plucking, and it can still look very natural. Only thing is that the frontal is not very long on the sides. Like there's deep middle parting, but it's kind of short on the side parting. Like really, it's that long. But let's see if we can like finesse that. So I want to style it on the mannequin head. I'm telling y'all, get y'all a canvas head to style your wigs on. Like styling on a mannequin head is so much easier than styling on your own head. Well, at least for me. Because when doing the mannequin head, I can see everything perfectly, you know? And this kind of just makes your installs faster. So I'm gonna style on here and install my head. Gonna just go ahead and give her a little part through. Just so I can see exactly where the part's gonna be on my head. Like I said, you know, mannequin head doesn't match up to my head sometimes. Just like a rough parting, I'm gonna clean it up on the mannequin. Okay. I'm also still trying to like maneuver around this short frontal parting without showing tracks, because like it's like kind of like an awkward curve. Trying to like go as far back as I can, because I feel like for a proper swoop, it has to go down pretty far. Alright, cool. So that's our little rough part. I'm just gonna clip this out of the way. Once I had my, rough draft of the part carved out for me, I can go ahead and start just pressing out the roots and just pressing the hair into the style I want. Taking your time to really go section by section like I am right now and pressing out the roots of your hair is going to make your wig so flat. Like if you skip this step, babes, your wig is going to be a little bit bumpy. Here I'm using this Care wax stick. This is another great product to use with your hot comb to really press it out. But I will say use this product sparingly. Before I used to go and use the wax for each section of the hair that I'm pressing out, but that's gonna make the hair really greasy. So mainly I usually just use a little bit of wax like in the first few sections of the bottom, and I mainly like to use the wax on the top because I feel like it doesn't get as greasy if I just really use it towards the top. But I am still going in piece by piece, making my parts and just pressing out the hair section by section. Like take your time on this step. It's going to really make a big difference on how flat your wig ends up looking. Another advantage of styling on your mannequin head is that you can really see all the details and get the style to be as like crisp as you want it to. Because girl, I cannot be hot combing my head the way I am this mannequin. I will burn myself. So at the same time, I'm also taking this time to kind of like clean up the part like I said I was going to do and just really get that swoop to make sense as much as it can. Because the side parting of this wig is not that giving. But I was still able to manage to finesse a little some. To really make everything look nice and professionally done, I make sure I'm also, carving out the back and pressing out the back. Like don't just be lazy and press the front out. Make sure you're pressing out the back and getting that perfectly neat, finished look. I also try to make sure I have like the hairs covering the track so you can't catch me lacking in any angle. And finally, after I've pressed everything out, both sides, I'm going in with my tweezer to just kind of like pluck the part out a bit. Since this hair is on the thicker side for the frontal density, the part's not showing out that much. So I'm just trying to gently go around and just pluck out the little curved swoop part that I've created. But not doing too much because I know if I pluck too much, what if I put the wig on my head and I want to change the part because it wasn't exactly how I needed it to be. So just a rough plucking, and I'm going to define the part even more once I've installed the wig. Now that we're done plucking, we can go ahead and I'm going to just straighten the hair here on the mannequin because I can get the roots and I can get the back a lot better. Honestly, style your wig on your mannequin if you can. It will make the installation process a lot faster and just less stressful. So here I'm just using my Ava NYC 10-in-1 main primer. I mainly just use this as a heat protectant to help protect the hair, especially with this hair being in a blonder color. It needs a little bit of heat protectant on it. And I'm using this Garnier Fructis Sleek and Shine Serum. This is my holy grail favorite styling product ever. It's affordable, drugstore, and I just put that in the hair to kind of, like it says, help protect from frizzy, and it gives some shine to it. For the sake of this video not becoming more of a movie than it already is, I did not include all the clips of me straightening the hair because I feel like straightening is very, straightforward, no pun intended. But I just use a typical chasing method. I use a rat tail comb, I let it chase the flat iron. But if you guys are interested in like a detailed hair straightening tutorial, I got y'all. But for the purpose of this video being already almost damn near an hour long, y'all get the gist. Once I was done straightening the hair, I'm just showing you guys that I gave the hair a nice little blunt chop. I'm always chopping the ends of my hair. It doesn't matter what look I'm going for. I feel like a blunt cut on the ends just makes the hair look more healthier and just looks thicker in my opinion. Okay. This is she's ready, lovely. I'm really obsessed these days with just like prepping the wig fully, almost as possible, like styling it on my mannequin head these days. And if you know, I normally don't really wear wig caps. I mainly wear them sometimes just to like protect my braids, you know, from getting caught on the clips. I don't believe in wig caps, ball caps, unless you're doing an actual glued down install. Then yes, those are important because it's gonna help you from like, you know, it's not like a barrier to not get glue onto your actual hair. But for glueless installs, I feel like you don't really need one. But sometimes I will put one on just for funsies, or just to like, you know, help the braids not get stuck in the little clips and stuff. Here's how the lace is looking. The lace is like slightly tinted to like a light brown color, and I like the lace so far. It doesn't like look like it's gonna be, doesn't look thick or anything. But I always like to tint my lace no matter what state it's in, and I'm always using this Maybelline Fit Me foundation because it's the exact shade match of my skin, and I'm using the shade 356 Warm Coconut. And I'm just gonna get my little brush and we're gonna dab that into our lace. This just kind of helps it like blend into your skin tone better. I see people do the foundation step like after the install. And my thing with that, I feel like adding makeup after, it kind of just like makes it mix more into like whatever glue or spray you're using. And it doesn't like, I don't think it, for me personally, it doesn't blend as naturally as just doing it before. Before we put her on, we're gonna cut off the lace in the back, because that's just there. I don't know why it's there. Sometimes some wigs have it, some don't, but I always just cut it off. We secure our elastic clips back here, the little things, because you want to make sure you have the wig fitting perfectly on your head. And we can put it on. Alright, let's see what we are working with. Get you some hair clips. Honestly, it's the little things I've learned that like have made my install game a lot better. Like getting hair clips and just clipping the hair out of my way when I'm working really helps me in like the most insignificant but significant way. Now let's cut the lace around our ears. I feel like I've never had a wig that like fits perfectly around my ears. I think they're kind of made to not be that way, so that way you can like kind of like customize it to your ear shape. I do have a detailed tutorial showing exactly, slow down, how I get like a perfect cut around my ear. But just like a quick little tutorial, I usually just, you know, get a little rat tail comb and I just kind of like feel around my ear, and I feel for where the top of my ear is, and I kind of like try to like part out around that. I think I've drawn like an upside down U, honestly. Okay. Nice. See? The ear popped out. Other side. Okay. Cut our little sections. Into a spray and hold down our lace. I'm doing a glueless install, so I'm going to be using this Ebin lace spray. Then this, if you're still using this to lay your lace, I'm judging you, sis, because this does not hit the way this hits. Like, this takes forever to dry. I still love this product for like styling hair, but for like laying my lace, I don't use this anymore. I only use this for styling. This is like a way improved version of that, so get this if you're using Got2b still. Now to cut my lace, because I like to cut my lace off first before I lay it down, I not invested, because it was $10. Got me a big old pack. How many is in here? 30 pieces of eyebrow razors from Amazon for like $10, because the fresher the razor, the better. I'm always needing a new fresh razor. So I like to use razors to cut off my lace. So first thing, like I said, I like to cut my lace off before I glue it down. And I cut my lace, I literally just follow the natural, just follow the hairline already there, unless like my hair is coming out further down than the hair. But I just kind of follow the curve of the hairline already created. Cut that off. And I try to cut off as much lace as possible. Like if there's no hair on it, it really doesn't need to be there, you know. And since I gotta use my scissors to get that detailed chop, okay, let me chill out now. And for my sides, I like to pull them out, like my little sideburn baby hairs. I pull those out first, just to kind of act as an anchor to hold down the lace. And then I lift the wig like so, and I spray right under where it's gonna be. And for the sides, I gotta like spray a little bit further back sometimes to make sure I get all that lace, because it's a lot of lace back there. And then, you know, use my fingers to spread that product around. And I take my blow dryer on like a warm setting but low power. Get my, whatever I can find, either a rat tail comb, and I'm just trying to like push it all in to get it to nice like lock and set. Like, here's my thing. You can definitely go ahead and like skip the blow dryer step and just wait for it to dry, and that works. But I think it doesn't work as well. Like the blow dryer stuff is really gonna help you ensure that you got that lace on lock. So don't skip that. I feel like I got this wig too far down. These days I like to not have my wig too far down because it looks kind of funny when you're not rocking your natural forehead. And then I'm gonna spray on top. I try not to spray too much. I try to make sure I'm just really using my finger to spread that product around, because you really don't need too much of this. And then spray, pat. That lace is disappearing. And what I'm doing when I use my blow dryer, like I'm literally like staring deep into my mirror and looking right at the lace, because like you can sometimes see like when the lace is like sticking up, and I'm just trying to use the end of this rat tail comb to push it all flat. Like I should not see nothing lifting. Like that's what I'm doing right now. I'm literally, it's about just like looking for every bump and groove of the lace and trying to flatten it out till it disappears into your skin. Now typically if I see like lifting anywhere, right now I feel like I did a pretty good job of snatching everyone down. If I see lifting, I just like will spray the end of this and tap the place, tap everywhere one more time. I think I did a good job this time. I'm gonna get my elastic band, and this is a regular sewing, like, and I'm just gonna put that over our lace so she can have a moment to sit and settle before I try to like swoop the baby hairs. I'm just gonna cut these suckers down, get them out of the way. Alright, it's been about like what, 5 minutes? I usually like to say 5-10 minutes. It doesn't have to be that deep because we're gonna be holding it down some more, but just to make sure the lace is not gonna lift when I try to do the baby hairs, because that's when you get the most lifting, honestly. Now we can get into doing our baby hairs. So yeah, I'm just going on a little diagonal cut right here just to get some baby hairs. Just doing a little bit of plucking because, like I said, the hairline, I did not, it was so thick, I knew I was not gonna be able to pluck it all on one go. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. It's so dense on this unit. I'm trying to see if I want to pluck more or not, but we'll see. And I'm just spraying some of that Ebon spray on top of the baby hairs just to help them lay flat. I'm gonna cut the baby hairs going at the same razor. And I just like to start at the top of my eyebrows first. I do have a very detailed baby hair tutorial as well if you're interested in that. Because I really don't talk during my baby hair installs. Like, I need autofocus. And then to curl my baby hairs, I'm going in with my, I got it from Amazon, mini flat iron. And I always like to do inward curls, like curl it under, not curling it the other way. I feel like it just looks better. And the tighter the curl, the better off you will be with your baby hairs. I just be scared to burn myself because I do be burning myself. And to actually lay the baby hairs, we using the Eco Styler gel. I love using this stuff for my baby hairs. And like I was saying, so for my baby hairs, I usually try to do a rough, little swoop of them. Like I'll brush them out before I lay them down, just to see if I like the way they're going. And then I get the little Eco Styler, and yeah. Now, my first attempt at baby hairs is always a rough draft because this don't make no sense right now. But I just took a little rough draft moment for it to set, and then I finish tweaking it. But this is good enough for now. Put this back on gently because the baby hairs are still not set yet. Okay, now let's get into the actual swoop portion. All right, I need a brush. Even though we was pressing it before, we're gonna press it out again. Ooh, sweet Lord, that was hot. Oh my God, that was so freaking hot as hell. That's why I like to do most of my pressing on the mannequin head, because I know I'm gonna burn myself. I'm gonna take this off really quick just so I can see how it's laying. I'm gonna put it back on, but I just want to see how it's laying. It's so cute already. Okay. I think I'm gonna right here. Ooh. Jump scare. Since I wanted to do my makeup, I decided to go off camera, do my makeup, and then do the swoop, because the swoop was going to be in the way of my eyebrows and all of that. So I just, finished being my face real cute. And the way I did my swoop, I don't really like doing very hard set swoops. I just kind of keep it very simple. So here I'm using that Got To Be spray. It's the right time to use Got To Be, and I'm just spraying that on the top and around the hair to keep everything very flat. And I'm just using my hot comb again to kind of just curve and press the swoop out the way that I want it to be. And as far as how I secured the swoop, I did it. I literally, when it comes to my swoops, I just pin them behind my ear at the most. Sometimes I'll get a little bobby pin and pin it if I need it be. But I like more of a soft swoop. I don't like them very pressed out and just like, you know, y'all know the swoops I'm talking about. Like I've seen some very well molded swoops. I'm not into the molded look. I'm more into like kind of like just a natural little side swoop type of vibe. So here I'm just kind of getting behind my ears as best as possible, and the rest of it is just going in with the got to be and a combination of your hot comb and your hand and a comb. So just keep like tweaking and maneuvering everything to kind of set it into place. The got to be is what's gonna help set the swoop in place without you having to like mold everything down too much. And then lastly, just to really set it off, I'm going in with my lighter shade concealer, like the concealer shade I use to highlight under my brows. I'm just using that to draw in the part, just to make, you know, everything look very dramatic and just, you know, chef kiss. Like this install, I didn't think it was gonna give as much as it did, but now that I'm like watching everything come editing, I'm like, wow, I did that. I ate. And you can eat too, just like me, if you follow everything and just, you know, practice inconsistency, of course. Period. Tweaking this continuously until it looks good enough for me. But I'm not gonna put y'all through that, because most of the time this hairstyle probably done. It's just me being obsessive, because it looks good at the same time, does it? Okay, it is like mad cute though. Like, look at that. Aww, but ooh, feeling this. Okay, period. Ah. Now, with that said, we made it to the end of another fun, exciting hair installation journey. Give you a little side view. Period. It's so freaking cute. Like I feel like all preppy and whatnot. But with that said, y'all know how this goes. Time for me to just magically disappear. I hope you enjoyed creating this look with me, because I sure did, because now I feel really cute. I'll hope to see you guys in another one. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And